Hey guys, I'm Little Art Demon and welcome to my channel. And thank you so much for clicking on another video. And before we start, let me just thank you all because we just reached 300 subscribers. There's so many of you, it's been great to see you all here with me. It makes me really happy to have this many people listening to my rambles. So thank you, I hope you are having as much fun as I am. And today we have a very chill video. As you may know, June is the month when LGBTQ+ Pride is celebrated, and this year I'm going to 2 different Pride parades. And when I go, I like to have something to interact with people. So I had an idea for this year and it involves today's drawings. So get a snack because today we have a story time. And before we start, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet and leave your like down below. Let's get started with the video. To start, let me explain what today's drawing will be about. I had an idea to make these simple characters holding flags and print them out to give people. That way they can color them in with their pride flags and also fill in the character with the way that they prefer. So that's what I'll be drawing today. I'll make a few different ones, some with just 1 flag, some with 2, some with a big one, some with 2 characters, you'll see when we get there. But I'm making them simple so that they're easy to see when printed. It's not my usual style and I'm not going to color them, so it's a little bit different, but I hope you still enjoy the drawings. Now let's get started with story time. I don't know if I should start from the beginning, so I'll start with the end. I've been going to Pride Parade since 2022 when they started to happen again after COVID's first impact. I've gone to the same one the last 2 years and this year I'm going to that one as well. It's in the place I studied and it's a smaller event, super chill and cute. But this year will be my first time going to another one. It's a bit bigger, but I'll go with a friend and I think we'll both have a good time. I started to feel more active in the LGBTQ+ community during quarantine. It was back then when I figured out some stuff about myself and I felt like being more open about things with the people around me and live my true self. To be more specific, I am bisexual, as you may know. I think I referenced that a few times here on the channel. And I'm also gender fluid. And now it's the time for the beginning. I grew up with my mom pretty much and she's a very inclusive person. She was always very comfortable with the idea of same-sex couples, for example. I mean, she watched a lot of Grey's Anatomy, so I think if she wasn't okay with that, she would not watch it. So that's great. Even when I was in the closet, I always felt safe at home. The things that she wasn't perfect were the more internalized details, like assuming people are straight and stuff like that. I don't want to sound like I'm complaining about my mom, I'm truly not. I'm very lucky that she's accepting of me and other LGBTQ+ people. But it's normal for people from that generation to have these internalized ideas, and she has deconstructed a lot of them already. This year she even asked me if I was going to Pride because she saw something on the news about a Pride flag and remembered. So I grew up surrounded by mostly straight people, but in my mind I never thought I had to be like that. I did get a bit confused when I was entering my teenage years though. I had a couple of crushes on boys from my class, one of them ending in a heartbreak. How sad. I'm going to cry so much about that. Jokes aside, back then it did make me sad obviously, and so just like that I decided I wouldn't want to date a boy. I think in my brain I was like, sure, my friends have crushes on boys, I guess I'll do that too. But then I switched to, nope, no boys here, and a few months after that I started to crush on my best friend back then who was a girl. I did not realize I'm bi at that moment. I didn't know the word bi even existed, I knew about gay and straight people, so I guess I felt like I could switch between the two. I don't know, I didn't give it much thought, I couldn't care less. And that crush was short because I met a guy and we ended up dating. Those years I got more exposed to the LGBTQ+ community and that's when I found the label bisexual and it fits me perfectly. I got very happy to know that I didn't have to choose a gender. I came out to my friends pretty soon after that, it was not a big deal, they're all lovely people. And I only came out to my mom a few years later when I was in college. It was when I started to be open to dating again, so I decided to disclose that. And I was nervous, but it went well. I knew it wouldn't be a bad reaction, but I still didn't know what was going to happen. And I think that's my story with being bi. It wasn't a very complicated journey, at least it hasn't been so far. It was easy for me to figure that stuff out and come out as well. With that being said, let's go to the rocky road that is my gender. Opposite to the previous topic, I grew up very ignorant about trans people and non-binary people in specific. There was no prejudice necessarily at home, it was just ignorance really. I remember being a kid and being with my mom at home watching TV and there was some news about gender reaffirming care. They talked about trans people and I asked my mom what a trans person is. I was a kid, but the explanation that stuck with me was boys who turn into girls and girls that turn into boys. I know this is not a proper way of explaining it, I know, but that's the way my literal childish brain processed it. But the point is, even if my mom didn't have much access to information, she still answered my questions to the best of her abilities without showing judgments. I grew up assuming I was a girl, that's how everyone perceived me, and I did not see a problem with that. I didn't feel like a boy, I didn't even think about gender that much. I liked the things that I liked, being them quote-unquote boy things or girl things, because I was taught I could like what I liked. So for example, when I was a kid I liked to play with dolls and cute animal toys and also stuffed animals. But I did not like girly clothes. I liked to wear sweatpants and sneakers and no pink. My mom tells me in preschool some kids bullied me and called me a boy because my sneakers were blue and I wanted to be called by my boy name. I don't remember any of this and I don't think it lasted for too long. And what I mean when I say my boy name, it's about my middle name. It is a masculine one and I wanted to be called by that. It's not unusual for people with the same name as me to want to be called by their second name, and most times it has nothing to do with gender. But that was my childhood. It kept like that until I was around 13 or 14 and cut my hair really short. And I know now that what I felt was gender euphoria. I looked in the mirror and was happy. I felt true to myself. Back then I listened to the song If I Were a Boy on loop and I didn't speak English, so the only words I understood were the title and that was enough to resonate with me. Looking back now, it seems pretty obvious to me that what I was feeling was either gender dysphoria or euphoria depending on the moments, but those pieces didn't click until years later. I remember a moment in high school when I started to learn more about trans people and following a few content creators that I started to question myself. I would feel so happy when people mistook me by a boy, it would make me smile so much. So for a while I thought I was trans. That only confused me more, honestly, because there were days when I felt trans and days where I didn't. And online I saw those creators saying it's not a phase and stuff like that. And that is absolutely true, being trans is not a phase. But it was the only thing I knew and so I felt wrong, like I was not trans enough to be valid. Eventually I started to learn more. I saw posts online about other identities and one day I decided to do my own research. I was already in college and by that time I knew if I didn't go look for the information it wouldn't get to me. So I googled for a bit and ended up looking at a page that listed a lot of gender identities and a definition of each label. Eventually I got to the gender fluid part and I can't really explain how I felt. I know for some people labels feel restrictive and they prefer not to use them, but for me they are so comfortable. When I found out that there was a name for what I feel, it felt like I was not alone. It felt like I was valid. After that I started to slowly figure out the details on my own and eventually come out to my closest friends. There are some people that are not in my life anymore that weren't super nice, but overall it went pretty good. I made pronoun pins to take to college, I still have them but I haven't been using them lately. I came out to my mom too, and that was not the best of experiences. I won't get into details, but we ended up talking the next day and things got better quickly. I think from my experience I've dealt more with ignorance than with hate. And ignorance is an easy fix if the people want to learn. And I'm very open to talk about stuff like this. Right now I think I'm done with coming out. There are important people in my life that don't know, but I don't feel like having that whole process over and over again. They'll figure it out eventually as time passes, it doesn't worry me that much. And with that we are done with today's video. I think these drawings will be fun to interact with other people, I'll print them out eventually. What do you think? You can tell me in the comments which one is your favorite, and if you like this don't forget to leave your like. Next week we'll have a Good Omens video, so if you don't want to miss that, subscribe. And thank you so much for watching the video until the end, I truly appreciate you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!